So the Idaho legislature has just wrapped up business for the year. What are some of the things that came from that? Let's talk about that next. Hey, Dave Edwards, Treasure Valley Dave here, and I want to give you a legislative update. I received a legislative update from Tina Lambert. She's an Idaho representative, and she represents the western part of Nampa and other places kind of to the west and south of Nampa. She's a real nice lady. Mrs. Treasure Valley Dave campaigned for her. And but she was kind enough to give us an update on what happened to the legislature. So in Idaho, the legislature is truly a part-time thing. They just worked 12 weeks this time. And then they voted sine die, which means that they're done for the year. So what did they get accomplished in this 3 months that they worked? Well, let me tell you. Tina says that conservatives did have some wins.
They were wrong, John. No one wins.
Including a modest property tax relief with the passage of HB 292. And this plan allocates $110 million for homeowners and $100 million for school districts to help pay off bonds and levy debt. So apparently the schools pay off that bond and levy debt, then those won't be showing up on property tax bills anymore. So that's the thinking. Let's see what happens. The bill also expanded eligibility criteria for the circuit breaker program, ensuring that more Idahoans can benefit from property tax relief. So the circuit breaker program is if you're in a particular situation, like, I don't know, based on your age or your income or your maybe your disability status, then your property taxes can be reduced quite substantially. And that's something you have to apply for, and I believe you have to apply for that year after year. As opposed to the homeowner exemption, that's when you, the homeowner, live in the house, then you apply for that exemption once and it just stays with the house until you go ahead and move. The next bill, HB 71, this was the Vulnerable Child Protection Act, and this is now law, and it prohibits puberty blockers and sex reassignment surgeries for children under 18. So that's what we've got going in Idaho. I know that there's a lot of controversy about that, but if that's something that you're happy with and your state doesn't do, maybe you want to be among like-minded people and move to Idaho. So HB 179 is now also law, and this prevents Idaho from using ranked choice voting in elections. So what ranked choice voting is, as I understand it, it's like you have a whole slate of people you can vote for, and then you rank them, your primary, hopeful, your secondary, your third, and then they put all those together, and then it's like if there's no one that gets a 50% plus one in the race, then they go back and they start knocking off people at the low end, and then you take your second choice, or they take your second choice and then add your vote to that. And it sounds complicated, and it probably is, but here's the indication for me. So I'm not real smart on all this, and you might find someone that can explain it better, but I do know that they have this in California, and they have this in New York State. So, and I know what they ended up with in California and in New York State. So that we don't have that here, I rely upon our conservative representatives and senators here in Idaho to protect us, and I believe they probably did with the passage of this bill. Another bill, this is one that Tina was responsible for, was HB 124, and this is now law, and it prevents the use of student IDs for identification at the voting polls. She said that anybody can get a school ID. There's no proof of identity required to get that. So that's just another step to assuring that we have safe and fair elections, right? She also gave us an update on HB 295, and this prevents credit card companies from tracking gun and ammo purchases. So that's in Idaho. So like the federal government, Joe Biden, obviously every time he turns around, he wants to take your guns and things like that. And if he can't do it through the government, what's he going to do? He's going to have his friends in the banking industry track your moves. Well, not in Idaho. Thank you very much. And also, Senate Bill 1130 is the Coronavirus Stop Act. And this also passed. And this limits the ability of public and private entities to impose a requirement on people to receive a COVID shot. So your work, your school, whatever, they cannot require you to get a COVID shot. Maybe it would be nice to have that protection a couple years ago, but we have it now. And as they find more and more tricky ways to get this COVID shot into you, maybe this is going to be a good thing. And I say that because I know that they're looking at giving cows and other ways that we get our food, those kind of shots. So we'll see. We'll definitely be encouraging Tina to keep the freedoms of us Idahoans front and center as she moves forward. Conservatives did have some losses too. And Tina said it was HB 24. This is the Idaho Launch Program. Governor, a little pet project there. This is where he's taking government money, obviously not his own, and he's going to be giving $8,500 to each high school graduate that's eligible, and so that they can use it for some kind of a workforce training and careers deemed essential. I have heard some commentators say that this was just a payback to the different industries, the big industries, like the big industries that give campaign checks to make sure that they get enough people. And maybe that's true, maybe it's not, I don't know. But Tina says that was not a win for conservatives, and I tend to agree with her on that. She also let us know that in previous sessions, as in previous sessions, so this is no exception this time, there was no action taken on the repealing of the grocery tax. So there's a lot of people that had signed on, but it just never went anywhere. Also, along those same lines, Tina said that she signed on with another number of other legislators to co-sponsor Senate Bill 1004, and this was to enhance Idaho's castle doctrine and stand your ground laws. She said that sadly this bill never made it out of the Senate State Affairs Committee. And that's how, politics works. You get into a committee chairmanship, and you basically get to control what happens there. You get to control what laws come out. So if you think that your representative and your senator can actually do something for you, it's kind of a rare thing because there's all these entrenched people, all these stopgaps that make sure that you can't get through what you want through to protect the rights. And apparently, I don't know, you tell me if I'm wrong here, but when your rights as a regular old citizen are held up and are strengthened, it seems like somebody else's power must be weakened. But Tina seems to be doing everything she can to make sure that as Idaho citizens, we are well protected. And it's not just Tina. We have other people. Senator Tammy Nichols, who used to be a representative in the House in Idaho, and last time she got voted, move on up to the Senate to help us out there. I know the Senate is much more conservative than it has been in the past, and the House of Representatives, maybe not so much, but Tina's there, and we have some other really good folks in the Idaho House. You know how we could get more in there? Is when you move up here, get involved. You support these good candidates, and maybe you run yourself. I mean, heck, if you're coming from California, Oregon, Washington, this shenanigans, to put it lightly, look like, and that's the thing. So many native Idahoans, they just want to see the best in people, and they don't see when they're getting shafted. You guys have been shafted so many times, you can see it in your sleep. And we need you to get up here and take action and help people so Idaho stays and continues to get more and more conservative. Your rights are on the line. And gosh, if Newsom gets elected as president, I tell you what, I'd much rather be in Idaho than I would certainly in California. Dang. Well, hey, thanks for checking this out, our little legislative update. And if you like this video, please share, like, subscribe to the channel. That means so much. And until next time, it's Dave Edwards, looking forward to helping you get home.